Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'll be doing something a little bit differently and something that I don't exactly want to do, but hopefully you'll find it interesting. Today I wanted to react to some one-star reviews of some of my favorite books, including The Lord of the Rings and The Silmarillion, both by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm just gonna dive right into it, reading one-star reviews of The Lord of the Rings and reacting to them. So, alright, let's see, this first one-star review here says, the books have super detailed descriptions of the geography of the places, which made the reading way too tedious. Okay, I guess I can see why someone would think that. Besides, heroes are supposed to act like heroes, not like cowards, and that, in my opinion, is what Frodo is, a coward forever denying his mission. What? Okay, I can sort of understand the first part. It does have detailed description of the geography of places, which I myself do find interesting, but I can understand why some people would find it very tedious and how it might take them out of the story. But then this next part makes no sense. All the heroes in this book clearly act like heroes, but like not everyone's perfectly brave. Like everyone's afraid of something. And you say Frodo a coward, forever denying his mission. Frodo left the peace of his home to go off and traveled for an entire year through many dangers to ultimately destroy the ring. And even though, in the end, I guess he did fail at his mission because he wasn't exactly the one who destroyed the ring, like, corrupted him. He took on this journey, and he is clearly heroic. Denying his mission, I mean, he doubts a lot. He doubts if he can do this, but, like, if you were in his place, trust me, you would too. Not all heroes are perfect human beings, and heroes aren't just cowards. Frodo is clearly not a coward. He is a hero. He doesn't deny his mission. He just doubts his mission at times, but he keeps on going on, and he's really brave. He keeps on going even when the path gets hard, so I don't understand why this person said Frodo is a coward forever denying his mission. I can, I guess, sort of understand the first part, though. Okay, this next one says, it's about as exciting as reading the dictionary and just as long. What? Tolkien was one messed up, alright. It's more like descriptions of places and things more than an actual story. I'd rather read the back of a bottle of shampoo. This one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I guess there are some times where someone could consider them dry, but that's only if they're not paying attention. I mean, there are, like, many conversations and stuff, really long ones, such as the Council of Elrond. I can see why someone would think that that's tedious, but then they're not really paying attention, because I think all the things that the characters say are really interesting, and if you pay attention, there's just so much to it, so this person clearly was not really paying attention. As for it not being exciting, it's very exciting. I mean, sure, like, there are some dry parts, admittedly, but still, it's an exciting story, so satisfying, but the thing is, even if it wasn't exciting, that's not like a contradiction. Tolkien didn't write The Lord of the Rings to be like an exciting, fast-paced fantasy thriller. He wrote it because he loved ancient myths, he loved mythology, and he wanted to create a mythology of his own. He didn't write The Lord of the Rings to be a fast-paced, thrilling fantasy novel. So this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I can probably understand the first review more than I understand this one. Let's see. This next one, I'm not sure what to say about. This next review says, I desperately want to drench this book in oil, light it on fire, and throw it into oncoming traffic. That is not a review. That is not a review at all. Let's see. Alright, this next one sort of says something similar to what some of the other ones have said. This one says, let me sum up the plot of this 400-plus page book for you. Frodo and company pack their bags, rest, eat a good meal, and walk. Walk through the forests, walk to Elrond's house, walk to Moria, walk to where the elves live, and nothing ever happens. Excuse me? Nothing ever happens? Did you just read the first book? Like, that's not all that happens in this book. There is action in this book. It's not, and things are happening. As you said, things are happening. Frodo and company pack their bags. That is a thing happening. They walk to Elrond's house. They walk to Moria. They walk to where the elves live. That is stuff happening, technically. So you're sort of contradicting what you said earlier. This one just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. A lot of these don't honestly make a whole lot of sense to me, and they aren't really much of reviews either. Maybe I should have found, like, more reliable one-star reviews, but those are the reviews to The Lord of the Rings. Now I'm going to look up some one-star reviews for the Silmarillion, which is one of my favorite books, and in my opinion, even better than The Lord of the Rings. Not, of course, that The Lord of the Rings is bad. Hey, Micah from the future here. I just wanted to elaborate on that last review a little bit about what they said, is that more happens than that the company, that Frodo and company simply just walked, like, the Barrow-wights. They are evil spirits that inhabit the bodies of dead men. That's exciting, right? And then they go to Moria, they're attacked by goblins, trolls, a demon of shadow and flame kills Gandalf, but then he's sent back to life by Iluvatar or God. So, like, yeah, exciting things happen in this book. Alright, here's the first one-star review that I found for the Silmarillion. Okay, it says, ideas presented are interesting, the world is great, after all, this is Tolkien, this is the Lord of the Rings universe. The prose, the writing, absolutely kills any joy of reading. I think it amplifies it, actually, in my opinion. Anyway, it goes on to say, to call this arrangement of words difficult to read is a supreme understatement. Allegedly, Tolkien intended to make this book written in an old, medieval, written folklore style. He might have been successful at that, but killed his creation there and then. People often remark how the Lord of the Rings books are unnecessarily lengthy and over-descriptive. Silmarillion does not suffer exactly the same issue, no. The problem at hand here is that Tolkien has intentionally chosen 100 words every single time he needed to say a sentence of 10 words. It is the worst sort of padding, the kind that makes the idea unparsable and the reading flow stuttered and snail-paced. Snail-paced? I'm sorry, I'm gonna read a sentence from the Silmarillion, and you can tell me if you think this was snail-paced. Alright, listen to this one sentence from chapter 23 of the Silmarillion, and tell me if this was snail-paced. Tuor sought to rescue Idril from the sack of the city, but Maeglin had laid hands on her and on Eärendil. And Tuor fought with Maeglin on the walls and cast him far out, and his body as it fell smote the rocky slopes of Amon-Gwareth thrice ere it pitched into the flames below. Like, that's not snail-paced. This is one sentence, and the things that happened is Tuor tries to rescue Idril from the sack of the city, Maeglin captures Idril, Tuor fights Maeglin, and throws him off the wall, and Maeglin dies. Like, and that all happens in one sentence. Now, I know that this is just one sentence, and, like, obviously, it's not the entire book. Like, this is just one example, but I do not think that the prose or the writing is slow-paced, and what he said about, what this reviewer said about what Tolkien could have said, when Tolkien chooses 100 words to say something that could have used 10 words, I think it's kind of the opposite. Not for a bad reason at all, though. It is written very much like the Bible. It's a history book. It's like a summary. It's a summary of events. I mean, obviously, it is a fantasy book, but that's not what Tolkien thought of it. He thought it as a history for his mythology and his invented world. So, okay. It's not much of a review either, but you clearly did not read the entire book. Did you just read chapter 14? I can't understand, like, I don't think it's boring at all, but chapter 14 of the Silmarillion is just a description of the lands of Beleriand, which, okay, is tedious, but, like, the rest of this book I would not say is tedious at all. This one person might just have read the 14th chapter, or maybe they started it and just weren't paying attention, because you gotta be really focused when you are reading this book. So that wasn't much of a review. This next reviewer said, totally boring, a colossal snore fest, suited only for the most hardcore Lord of the Rings fans. Okay, I can sort of understand, like, how only hardcore Lord of the Rings fans would really get into this book, and really understand every aspect of it. But a colossal snorefest. Totally boring. This person must not have read the entire book either. There's so much exciting stuff. Like, the Battle of the Fall of Gondolin. Like, for goodness sake, there's Balrogs fighting. Balrogs, the demons of shadow and flame. There's orcs. They're fighting people. You know, Glorfindel fights the Balrog and it kills him. Iluvatar sends him back to life. There's a war in which all the lands are broken. And then Eärendil fights dragons in the sky. Like, you could not have read the entire book. Okay, let's see. This next 1-star review said, there are some cool things that happen in this book. Yes. Monster battles, etc. And possible. You said possible. I think this reviewer meant possibly. And possibly the cutest name Balrog of all time, Gothmog. What? Cutest name Balrog? Gothmog? I thought Gothmog was a pretty intimidating name. Anyway, but this book felt like a chore, or like reading a Bible. And in a way, it is a Bible, the creation story of Middle-earth, really. Unlike The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, there is no sense of things happening in few conversations. There is, and thus happened, sort of style. I'd say this is for hardcore Tolkien fans, was not for me. So, I can understand how the Silmarillion is not for everyone, because it definitely is not for anyone. It is written sort of like the Bible. It's like a history book of Middle-earth, and, like, a summary of events. But, like, okay, few conversations, even if there are few conversations, I don't see how this makes the book, like, not exciting. No sense of things happening, You do kind of have to focus hard to know what's happening, because it's written in a very unique writing style, I think. But the writing style is part of the reasons why I love this book so much, and I've seen a lot of people say that the writing style is just boring. I don't know. I don't really get this one either. Few conversations, I don't know how that makes this book bad. Like, you would think few conversations, there's more room for action, so that would make it more exciting, but I don't know. Okay, this next 1-star review said, the first couple of chapters, Valar Maiar lore, were interesting but dry. The rest of the Silmarill's backstory was extraordinarily difficult to read, boring and tedious. Why does everyone say that this book is boring? Like, seriously, if you would just pay more attention to what you're reading, you would not say that. I feel like all the people who say that this book is boring, which are a lot of people, I mean, I can understand this book is not for everyone, but I feel like all the people who say this book is boring just read it without trying to really concentrate and think about it, and most of it is just flying over their head, and that's why they say it's boring. I mean, I can't read their minds, of course. I can't judge them or anything, but, like, you have to read the story carefully, and I do not get why everyone is saying this is boring and tedious. This is no Hobbit story. Tolkien did not intend this to be a Hobbit story. Not sure this constitutes having read the book, but the best I can offer at this time. Okay. Next 1-star review doesn't say a lot. It just says, painful, felt like I was reading a Bible. Okay, is that bad? Is it painful to read the Bible? Like, now I feel like you're contradicting the Bible as well in this 2 review. Oh, okay, this next one was not a review at all, but it just says, dull, 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 dull. Dull for like 7 lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. The word dull, repeated over and over again for 5 lines, and at the end, oh so dull. I feel like this person did not pay a lot of attention to the book. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself because a lot of these reviews are sort of repeating themselves, if you can call this one a review at all, because this one honestly isn't much of a review, but it is not dull at all. You need to focus and pay attention to what you're reading. And I mean, maybe you are, and that is just your opinion. And that's fine if, in your opinion, the Silmarillion is dull or boring, but I just don't get why so many people say this. Alright, now I want to react to a couple of 1-star reviews for probably my most favorite book of all time. It might be neck and neck with the Silmarillion, but I think this is probably my favorite book of all time, and I gave it an 11 out of 10 when I reviewed it when I first started this channel a few months ago. The Children of Hùrin, such a great book, such a fantastic book, such a beautiful book. I don't think there's a lot of people going to be saying that it's dry, because it's definitely not as, shall we say, dry as the Silmarillion. There's not as much description of geography, and it is an actual story, not like a summary of historic events like the Silmarillion is. This first review says, when a book is not published during an author's lifetime, there is usually a reason for that, enough said. This person clearly does not know a lot about J.R.R. Tolkien. The reason all these books were published after J.R.R. Tolkien's death is because he was working on them his entire lifetime and didn't even have enough time to publish it because he was a busy man, and it's really incredible how much stuff he wrote for being such a busy person. And it was published, that's why it was published after his death, because he spent his entire life working on it. Never stopped working on it. He revised it, rewrote it so many times. Tolkien spent his entire life working on all these books, and this person says that the book is bad because it was published after his death. I don't see how, when a book is published after an author's death, that makes it bad. Like, it's still written by that author. This also didn't really say anything specific about this book. It just basically implied this is a terrible book, so that review did not make a lot of sense to me. This next review just focuses on one specific thing. It says, why did the family of Hùrin wait so long before trying to find each other to force the storyline? That's why, unless you are an extreme Tolkien fan, pass this one up. Sorry, did you read the third chapter, how Morgoth, like, cursed their family? And also, this is, like, everything that happens in Middle-earth is the will of Iluvatar, which, Iluvatar is, like, the god of Tolkien's world. Like, I've seen people complain about, like, oh, how convenient that Bilbo stumbled upon the ring in the cave in The Hobbit. And, like, that was the will of Iluvatar. It happened because it was meant to happen. Not, like, Tolkien didn't just do this to force the storyline. Húrin's family was cursed by Morgoth because Húrin, defied Morgoth to his face. And so they weren't meant to come together until the end when the tragedy happened. So either this person didn't read the third chapter, or the third chapter just flew over their head. I mean, who knows? That is just an assumption on my part, though, but I don't really see why anyone would say that unless they didn't read the third chapter, or if they didn't pay attention when they were reading the third chapter. Okay, I'm actually kind of angry at this next review. This person says, after the momentous success of the Lord of the Rings film trilogy, is it excessively cynical? Cynical? I cannot pronounce that word. C-Y-N-I-C-A-L. Let me know how to pronounce that in the comments. To think that the Guardians of the Tolkien Legacy decided to release anything they could find in the hope of cashing in. Look, it is not the Tolkien estate who put this book together and edited it. It is Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's son, who truly cared about his father's works, and he did not publish this book just to get a lot of money because of the success of the Lord of the Rings films. Christopher Tolkien did not even like the Lord of the Rings film trilogy. I'm actually really angry at this review, because Christopher Tolkien did not publish this book just to get money. Like, he did it because he truly cared about his father's works, and he wanted more people to read about these stories that his father, J.R.R. Tolkien, wrote and truly cared about. Like, J.R.R. Tolkien cared about these tales of the First Age, like the Silmarillion and the Children of Hùrin, Beren and Luthien and the Fall of Gondolin. They were like his life's work. He cared about those works more than the Lord of the Rings, and Christopher Tolkien did not do it just to get money. So I'm really angry at this review. This next one isn't much a review either. This just says, that was awful, and all I can say is, I'm glad it's over. Okay. Couldn't be more specific. Okay, this one doesn't make a whole lot of sense either, although I can respect the fact that they do like Tolkien's other books, but I do not understand why they don't like this book. This person says, "Wow, in a bad way, I love Tolkien and I rate all the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and the Silmarillion 5 stars. Good, good. But this book was terrible. Just when you think it cannot get any more depressing, it does. A never-ending story of tragedy." That's what makes this book so good. I mean, it's a tragic tale, but it's such an emotional tale and so beautifully written. I can't understand why anyone would dislike this book just because it's a tragic tale. This next one kind of sounds like the same as the previous one. It says, "Slogged through this to retain my Tolkien fan badge." Okay. "As only a piece of the Silmarillion, it does not stand alone well. Pure tragedy and zero joy." A story does not need to be all joyful to be a good story. Like, look at Shakespeare. I think his books and plays are really good, but not a lot of them have happy endings. Okay, this is the last review I'm going to read before I wrap this video up. This one says, "Meh. For those very keen on the whole myth behind the later ages of The Lord of the Rings, this is a need to read. A casual reader, this is optional." Alright, that's the solidest one-star review I've actually read so far. I'm glad this person's actually being mature. A dark tale, certainly, and unusual for Tolkien, but doesn't flow as well as the other stories, and lacks the depth by being the lost tale and being the background material. Alright, so I did like this review a lot more than all the others, but what it said about it not being like background material to The Lord of the Rings, The Children of Hùrin was not meant to be background material for The Lord of the Rings. You must keep in mind that the Silmarillion and the Children of Hùrin and all these were actually written before Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings, even though they were published way after because he continued revising them and rewriting them throughout his lifetime to make them better. But it was not meant to be a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, and it was not meant to expand, well, it expands on the world of Middle-earth, but, like, it wasn't meant to be a background story to The Lord of the Rings, and so I think this reviewer was also sort of missing the point. Okay, well, that was interesting. I know this is different from what I usually do. I just thought this would be an interesting video to do. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching it, please hit the like button, and please subscribe to my channel, as I do anything related to books, such as book reviews, book rankings, book hauls, anything related to books at all, and especially Tolkien, because I'm a big fan of Tolkien. Unlike the people in the one-star reviews, I will always give all of J.R.R. Tolkien's books, I'll always give these all 11 out of 10 stars. They are all fantastic books, beautiful works. I feel like most of these reviews were sort of missing the point. Some of them weren't even, like, reviews, but it was really interesting reading other people's opinions, even if I don't agree with them, and just reacting to them and sharing my thoughts with you. Well, thanks for watching, and for now, farewell. Or as the elves say, Namarie.